Welcome to this series on getting started with Fusion 360. In this series, you're going to develop a practice letterbox. So you can then use the skills that you learn in developing your practice letterbox to develop your own unique design for a letterbox. In this video, we're going to look at what Fusion 360 is. We're going to look at what we can do with it. We're going to have a quick software tour, and we're going to take our first steps to developing our practice letterbox. So, what is Fusion 360? Well, Fusion 360 is a parametric modeling CAD program. So, when you hear the word CAD, it just stands for computer aided design. And a parametric modeling program means that you design things in 3D, and those 3D designs can be used to generate different resources. So here you can see with the design, I'm able to actually do like a high quality render. And you can see here that there are some lovely lighting effects on it, some reflections and shadows, so it actually looks fairly realistic. And what I was actually able to do with that is photograph it, and I'm actually able to photograph it in different views. So like take it into like a camera studio, and then make that into a PNG and place that into a JPEG file that I can show the context for my product. So you can see there that I've placed my letterbox into a background. So this is the project that we're going to do in the second half of the year, which is designing a boat shed. And you can see the letterbox in context with some figures there to give it scale. So really cool. Another thing that we can do with it is we can design things like, we can make things like this, which is a working drawing. This is an orthographic drawing, so that's a 2D drawing of a design, and you can see there we've got the measurements there of the design. So if you were to give that to someone who was actually making the letterbox, they would be able to see exactly what measurements you wanted the design to be. And so with this project, with this sort of starting project, I've just had a look at my letterbox at home. It's a bit beaten up, but you can see there that it is quite a functional letterbox. So I've sort of taken some measurements of the different parts of the letterbox and just taken into account how it actually works. And I've done a little drawing on paper here to just explain that letterbox, so that when I come into Fusion 360, I actually understand what it is I'm trying to make. So really important to understand that working on paper first is the way that we go, because when we don't want to actually design things in Fusion 360 on the fly. We want to actually have ideas developed on paper first before we move into Fusion 360, because any kind of CAD modeling program is just to develop an end product. Another thing that we can do with it is we can do animations. So you can see here I'm able to actually pull apart the different parts of the letterbox. So if I was to give that to a client, or if I was really trying to sell my ideas to somebody, I can actually show them exactly what my design is and how it all goes together. Okay, really important skill set for DDC. This would also be used to make what's called a paraline or exploded drawing as well. So without further ado, I think we get started into the program. So if we have a look here, when we open Fusion 360, this is what we are greeted with in terms of the home screen and the canvas. So first of all, what we've got up here is we've got our tools for modeling in parametric or 3D. Okay, We've got our sort of toolbar down here, not a toolbar, but we've got a little menu of the different parts of our model, and this is really useful for selecting parts of our model later on. And the most important thing for you to probably understand is this navigation cube over here. And you can see here that we can actually click on different parts of the cube and we can actually navigate around a design once we actually have it in 3D. So important to actually understand that when we are working with this, that we always want to go back into the home part. So if we ever get lost, which is very easy to do in Fusion 360, you want to be able to go back into that home thing as well. Down here we've actually got some navigation tools for moving around in sort of different ways, so that's very useful for finding our way around the model. But also the other one is the pan. All right, so sometimes you'll find that you will have to use that little hand icon which will sort of pan across, so that is a very useful tool that you sort of need to know about. But we'll just click back into home, so we're back into that view there. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to start with a sketch. So a sketch, so how Fusion 360 works when we're developing parametric shapes or bodies is that we need to start with a sketch. So to create a sketch, we go up to here, create a sketch, click on that. And then what we're presented with is we're asked to pick a plane that we actually want to work on. So in this case, we're going to start with the bottom plane. So we're going to click there, and you can see there that the view tool has changed to the top because we're looking down on it. And this toolbar has actually changed. So we've actually got different tools in here. Now these are sketch tools. So they're different tools from the ones that we had to begin with. All right, so we're going to start with a 2-point rectangle. Now, when the 2-point rectangle opens, you see you get a little palette here that tells you about what you can actually do with that tool. Now, you've got different options for creating rectangles. You've got a 2-point one, which sort of stretches sort of out like that. You've got, oops, sorry about that. I'll just, you've got a 3-point one which clicks through, and you've got the center one. So we want to click on the center rectangle. And you can see here that the canvas has a grid on it. And with my cursor, it will actually just like clip onto different parts of the grid as I kind of just sort of stop close to kind of like intersection lines. In this case, we're going to go to the center point of the canvas. Now you can see here that I can move this rectangle any which way I want, okay, and those dimensions will change. However, we want to actually program in some predefined dimensions because, as you saw there before, I had looked through and measured out my letterbox so that so that I know exactly what size things are going to be. And that's really useful later on when I come to do working drawings, because I want my measurements to be, relate to the real world. So in this case, I want my base of my letterbox to be 230 millimeters by 230 millimeters. And so the way I do that is you can see there that the vertical dimension is highlighted. If I just press delete and I type in 230, it will set that dimension to 230 millimeters. Now you can see there that I can move the horizontal dimension but not the vertical dimension because it's got this wee padlock on it, all right, which is really useful. Now the problem is I need to get into the horizontal dimension. So the way that I do that is I press the tab key, okay, and that takes me into the horizontal dimension. I press delete again, 230. Now, Fusion 360 will automatically default to millimeters, because generally that's a good unit of measurement for working with product design. In New Zealand, where we work with the metric system. So you can type in double M, but if you wanted to be centimeters, so if you wanted it to be 23, you could put 23 cm, or you could, if you were working in meters, if you were doing like a chair, you could type in, you could just type in M and it would read it as meters. So it's fairly clever like that. Anyway, if I press enter, I've now got a sketch, a constrained sketch. Now, what I need to do with this is I need to now, we're finished with this part of the sketch, so we're going to go up here, press the tick, finish sketch. And you can see there that top toolbar has changed again, and it's changed back to the original toolbar that we had, which was the three-dimensional toolbar. Okay. Now I'm still in this top view, so what I want to do is I want to click the home button and take it back into the home button. Okay, and I just scrolled out a little bit so I can sort of see what I'm doing. Now, what we have to do is extrude this into a three-dimensional shape for the body of our letterbox. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on the extrude, and because we only have the one sketch that we're working from, it knows to just go straight for that. So the extrude tool, very useful tool, very important tool. There's lots of functionality here that we can use. So we've sort of got different ways that we can sort of go with it. We can go two sides symmetrical. We can like set in distances, which is probably more important when we have different bodies in there. We can put a taper degree angle on things, so lots of different options, but what we're going to do is just start with the most basic option, which is creating a body. And what we're going to do is we need to look at the sketch again that I did earlier. Well, I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to put in the dimension for the body of the letterbox, which is 390 millimeters. And you can see there that has extruded exactly to 390 millimeters, which is the height of my letterbox. I press enter, bang, we've got a nice parametric design to start with. So I think that will do for today. You can just have a begin play with that, but I'd like you to make sure that you have a rectangle which is 390 millimeters high with a base of 230 millimeters squared. See you next time.